Prince Harry, helicopter pilot for 10 years in the British Army? Simmer down, Meghan. Meghan Markle just stepped out to help promote the new documentary about Girl Scouts that she and Archewell helped to executive produce. But instead of spotlighting the girls or the organization or the film, Meghan Markle made it all about herself. Who's surprised? And she accidentally sparked a debate in the process. During a Q&A, she claimed that Prince Harry was a helicopter pilot in the British Army for 10 years, she said. There's just one problem with that. It's not true. Today, we're looking at how seemingly innocent promotion derailed into a masterclass in narcissistic PR, why this quote is backfiring spectacularly, and the harsh reality about the Girl Scouts that this documentary conveniently glosses over, and why this could be a big problem for Meghan's brand and public image. Hi everybody, I'm Babes Kelly. Welcome back to another video. Before we dive in, I would like to invite you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Click like and hype this video. So Cookie Queens is a documentary of sorts that has been executive produced by Harry and Meghan via their Archewell Productions arm, which is struggling on its own. This was meant to be kind of a bit of a saving grace for Archewell, if you will, because their most recent efforts, the With Love Meghan, Harry's polo thing, just really didn't do so great. Ended up a bit of an embarrassment for them in terms of like business and production companies and whatnot. It didn't go well. So currently their portfolio is in need of a success desperately. And Meghan and Harry came onto this project after it was already completely done, in the final stages, to help give it the funding that it needed and the publicity that it needed. We talked about this. It could be that Harry and Meghan didn't deliver any actual funding to this. They're just doing the publicity to try to get it in the news and give it a little bit more coverage because of their infamous names. But they attended one of the festival circuits with this and with the team and whatnot. And now that it is on the way to theaters with almost no ticket sales so far, Meghan has been trying to promote it by doing a few publicity stunts. This film follows only 4 young girls who are Girl Scouts during the intense cookie selling season of like yesteryear. This is certainly from like a year or more ago. And Meghan attended a couple of events by herself without Harry, and we're going to do a separate fashion edition on what she wore, so be sure you're subscribed so you do not miss it. But Meghan's presence at these events and her involvement in this film and its promotion is raising eyebrows for a number of reasons. One of which is that Meghan aggressively uses her title. She has a staff member announce her name and her title when she enters a room, for goodness sakes, the most bizarre thing you could possibly imagine. And she relies on her title for everything, to get special treatment, for all these sorts of things. She's very entitled with it, right? And because she aggressively leverages her royal title, promoting an organization meant to empower everyday young girls creates a rather awkward juxtaposition. It makes it difficult for audiences and the public to really see and feel the connection there. And it's not helped by the way Meghan shows up and the way Meghan conducted herself during these promotional outings. Furthermore, because Meghan is so polarizing and unlikable, I question the thought process of whoever had her come on board and get involved. Because a lot of projects that Meghan and or Harry are involved in end up repelling a big percentage of the population or possible viewers or consumers of that product simply because the Sussexes are so unlikable. Attaching a highly polarizing figure to a documentary about children might actually hinder the film's success rather than help it. When Meghan is the face of the promotion, the focus shifts entirely away from the documentary's subjects and onto her ongoing public relations battles, and that was made worse by the fact that Meghan shared a lot of personal anecdotes and turned the conversation onto herself on multiple occasions, which is predictable for those who have been following the Meghan and Harry saga of doom. But it's still unfair and bad promotion for the film and for the people involved in the film regardless. So during a Q&A, Meghan stated that Harry was a helicopter pilot in the British Army for 10 years. Let's set the facts straight on this before we get any further, shall we? Harry did serve in the military for 10 years, from 2005 to 2015, but he was not a helicopter pilot for that entire duration. Instead, he retrained as an Apache pilot in the Army Air Corps late in his service. And this exaggeration is actually quite significant. It feeds directly into the narrative that the Sussexes frequently embellish their histories to sound more impressive. And because they're so polarizing, critics and the media immediately jumped on this lie and contrasted it with Prince William's actual dedicated flying career in search and rescue that was much more impressive credentials than Harry's. And I always wonder, the character of someone and the message that it sends to people, the impression that it gives when you're lying on stage, when it's publicized, in such a blatant and obvious way for something easily fact-checked. It just contributes to what we already know about Meghan Markle, that she exaggerates, she lies, she manipulates, she's not trustworthy. And so when we connect that and tie that to this movie and this project, it's really not good for the project, for the movie itself, to be associated with Meghan, who is actively making bad press and lying while promoting the movie. Additionally, when she does stuff like this, it further takes attention off the project because then we have a whole slew of articles and news about Meghan's falsehoods instead of the actual thing that she's there to promote. So maybe it's a sort of twisted attention grab, and that's why she keeps making stuff up when she's in these sorts of settings. I don't know. But the audacity to lie about something easily fact-checked in this public of an arena is just mind-boggling to me. I still can't figure out. She's been doing it since South Africa, for goodness sakes, definitely since Oprah, and she shows no signs of stopping. She also gave a weird quote during one of these Q&As. She claimed that Harry said, and this is exactly what Meghan said, I will spare you a clip of her voice and just read it to you. My love, even if there's a storm happening, above the storm, the sun's always shining. This is what Meghan shared about when she's having a hard day. So not only does this sound contrived and straight out of Meghan's book of fantasies, but it perfectly illustrates her PR strategy. She was asked a question at a documentary premiere about young girls, and instead of answering about the girls, or the organization, or the project, she pivoted to a syrupy, contrived quote to center the conversation on her own perceived victimhood, the storm, or a rough time, and her romantic relationship. So she didn't just turn the focus onto herself, but she just completely pivoted it to something completely unrelated and sounds quite made up, quite frankly, which effectively hijacks the promotion efforts of the movie. Instead of the headlines reading about a documentary that highlights young female entrepreneurs, the headlines are all about Meghan and Harry and their ongoing drama. It disrupts the entire purpose of the film and her being there, which then does a disservice to the filmmakers and the subjects. And this type of behavior is not new for Meghan. Every time she has an interview or an appearance that's meant to be about someone or something else, Meghan always makes it about her. And making comments like this are about her. The question she asked was not, do you have any advice on how to get through difficult times? That was not the question. It wasn't, what do you do or think about when you're having a hard day? Nope, that wasn't the question. The question was about the girls. And that's how she answered it. It's insane. And it only fuels the popular belief that Meghan Markle is very high in narcissism and that her behaviors often resemble toxic narcissistic traits. But I want to take a step back and zoom out from the Meghan issues connected to this for a moment and talk about the movie itself connected to the Girl Scouts and this cookie empire that's happening, which a lot of people question whether it is a scam. The actual subject of the film, Girl Scouts, cookie selling season where these girls work exceptionally hard in a competitive fashion to sell Girl Scout cookies. We all know this, but the reality is that the Girl Scout cookie industry is worth $800 million. And the girls who do all the work to sell it get like 2% of this, basically. The stark financial realities that this movie glosses over completely is that the troops and the girls themselves, who do the majority of the work, see a very small percentage of the profit from each box sold, while the national organization retains the vast majority. Participating in the Girl Scouts has become increasingly expensive for families, which has made it far less accessible. And the cookie selling procedure is not excluded from this. And in recent years, there's been more and more criticism of the Girl Scouts organization and the cookie selling habits in general because of this very thing that a lot of girls cannot afford and a lot of families cannot afford to participate in this at all. And when they do, it's a strain. It's difficult selling these cookies and trying to raise money and then see that the girls only get like $1 or $2 per box that they sell and the rest of the money just goes to the top, to this corporation, is quite frankly unacceptable. And culture has shifted away from ignoring this in recent years. People have begun to educate the public more on this. There has even been trending initiatives encouraging people to not buy Girl Scout cookies for this very reason, that the business model itself and this whole thing, if this is really meant to help girls, then it shouldn't be this difficult, this expensive to participate, and the girls should be getting the vast majority of the benefits, not the crumbs left over after corporate takes their cut. So if Meghan really truly wanted to soften her image and support children, affiliating with an organization that is genuinely free or puts families first financially would have been a far more authentic move than backing a glossy documentary about a corporate cookie machine that takes advantage of families and girls who just want to participate in the Girl Scouts organization. And when you contrast it with, for example, the real royals who support organizations that help communities and families and doesn't charge them up the wazoo just to show up and be there, just to be part of it, and who don't take massive profits to the top, to the corporate teams, it makes Meghan's involvement and apparent support of the Girl Scout organization all the more disturbing and out of place. She wants to be seen as a philanthropist. She wants to be seen as somebody who cares so much about digital rights and kids' rights and safety and privacy and all of these things. And she wants to be seen as this faux royal philanthropist. And yet she aligns herself with an organization that is very much not demonstrating any of those values at all. Modern Girl Scouts today are the small percentage that can afford to participate, that can actually dedicate the time, the energy, or hire someone to go to all the meetings and do all the activities with the girls. It's not some philanthropic organization designed to champion girls and encourage entrepreneurship. No, they're making money off these girls. It's a for-profit organization. Not the same thing. So when we look at the Cookie Queen's experiment and Meghan's promotion of it, it's a microcosm of the Sussex brand. A glossy veneer that ultimately serves to elevate Meghan's profile rather than the cause she claims to champion, complete with exaggerated truths and a lack of self-awareness. But what do you guys think? Do you think her comment about Harry's pilot days was an honest slip of the tongue or a calculated exaggeration? Or maybe it was just an oversimplification of things. And what do you think about the Girl Scouts and this cookie selling industry? Let me know down below. I'm excited to read the debate in the comments section. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye!